Welcome to the Attic Manadad here. It's the channel where we explore what's fun in Magic, mostly on Arena. And we also do these Monday metagame updates. And I was looking at the stats. It looks like these might be hurting the channel, guys. I don't know. Are you loving these? Is this something I should continue? Should I try to spin off into a new channel? Because I think some of you see a live stream and are not interested and downvote or unsubscribe or something. Like the algorithm is not treating these very well. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But I'll keep them going for a bit still. But I just want you to know that's the data. But until such time as it seems like they cannot continue, this is every Monday. We're going to go through the stats. I have an untapped.gg subscription, so you don't have to. We can look at what is popular and winning in the various formats on Arena. We'll also talk about what is winning in paper and on MTG Online through the MTG Goldfish stats. And we'll also talk about Atlanta. There was a giant, I don't know what it's called, SCG Con. There was a giant con in Atlanta this weekend, including having the results for the winner of Pro Tour Edge of Eternities. And there he is, Michael DiBenedetto Plummer, won with Tamishi Charbelcher. And it was a modern tournament. We can talk about the results here. But there you go, Tamishi Belcher, first place. Not sure why it says 1 and 9. Should be 9 and 1. Pretty fun. The Belcher deck is a real thing right now in Modern. If you don't know, we're talking about Goblin Charbelcher, which is essentially, it's a no-land deck. You can sideboard in an island if you want to in this list. And I think there were some controversies. I don't know if it was Michael DiBenedetto Plummer or another Belcher player, but there were some controversies over Hydroelectric Specimen being fetched off of Thundertrap Trainer. And as you can see, it says non-creature, non-land card. And this is a creature or a land. Doesn't matter the side. So I saw some discussion on Reddit about that. We'll see if there's any further coverage that comes out about that, or if that was just somebody mistaken on Reddit, which it very well could be. So anyways, let's start it off as we usually do in standard, best of one. Win rate still number one. Jeskai Artifacts. I guess less than a week ago, I made a Jeskai Artifacts deck, trying to use some of the new cards from the Spiderman / Through the Omenpaths deck and test those out. And you can go watch that video. But just a narrow lead in terms of win rate right now. Mono White Life Gain actually doing really well. And I wanted to dig into that a bit more, just briefly. Just bear with me here. If you look at the archetype matchups here, obviously 50-50 against itself. It's really nice against Mono Red, has an even matchup against Demons, has a favorable matchup against Landfall, does not do well against Artifacts. Boros Burn, Is It Prowess, all favorable matchups. Azorius Control, very unfavorable. Gruul Landfall, Orzhov Sephiroth, Selesnya Rabbits. So favorable against a lot of the more popular decks. So I think this is one we have to kind of pay attention to. You're either trying to play a deck that beats it, like Jeskai Artifacts or Azorius Control, and boy, do they stomp it, or you are, you know, or you're going to have to play this or find something else that kind of works in a similar manner. So it is the number one most popular deck, followed by Mono Red Aggro, followed by Jeskai Artifacts, and there's Demons right there, Forest Burn, Landfall, Gruul Landfall, and Azorius Control all the way down at number 8. In terms of how the metagame is shifting, Mono White Life Gain ascending in popularity right now. Mono Red taking a little dip here, but mostly everything is staying stable. Looks like Boros Burn is going up a bit. And in terms of win rate over time, Jeskai Artifacts just keeping that clear lead this week. And Boros Burn is going up, and Landfall is really tanking. So Landfall, I guess because it doesn't do well against mono white life gain might be something. But would be interesting to see. I don't believe life gain is really picked up any new cards from the new set, so kind of curious why this week of all weeks it's doing so well. It just, I guess, is the, you know, the metagame. Jumping over to best of 3. We do see now, is it, once again, at number 1, although mono red very close behind, and it's been a mono red is it format basically since the last time the pros played this. We've seen a big popularity drop. I'm not sure if that's because everybody's trying out the new cards from Spiderman / through the Omenpaths, probably. But in terms of Spider-Man, is there a new deck that is really getting people excited? I don't think so. I think all these decks were kind of around. I think what it's calling Selesnya is probably the Rabbits deck. Not sure why we can't click on Selesnya. But there you go. Mono black, Azorius, Orzhov. Simic is interesting in the sense that Ouroboros, I've been seeing this a lot. It is on the ladder. A lot of people also just playing mono green with the Ouroboros. So it's sort of a removal check card. Either you got it or you don't. And if you got the removal, you can beat this deck handily. Instant speed removal. If you don't, it's pretty good. Gene Morph Imago. I've been playing around with this card after I got beat by it in a draft. Absolutely busted card, but I don't know if there's, I mean, obviously this is the deck to use it, but I don't know if anybody's figured out exactly how to use it. This is a 58% win rate deck list, and looks like it uses Beast Binder, and 4 of the Gene Morphs, just a straight up mid-range, and I like Enduring Curiosity. Bushwhacks and some Into the Flood Maws for your interaction, and then just that. It's kind of a, I don't want to call it a boring deck. It's not. It's just, I guess it's just a strong mid-range deck. Interesting to see it putting up some decent results. Simic gonna Simic. It's been a while since Simicked at a higher level. Now, in terms of how the metagame breaks down in best of 3 standard on Goldfish, well, we do see Izzet Cauldron mono red. They have Izzet Cauldron and mono red, a much higher percentage of the metagame. Dimir mid-range is about half or less, and they have Azorius Control at number 4. And then something called 4-color control. I don't think we were really seeing a representation of a 4-color. Oh, I guess in terms of win rate here, we do see this 4-color deck. So let's take a look at what the 4-color deck is. It's okay. It's just a lot of the useful spells. Meringue River Regent, Fire Magic, Consult the Star Charts. Mystical Teachings is interesting. That's kind of fun. And then the Jeskai Revelation is the big finisher, it looks like. Sideboard with Flash Freeze. Sphinx of the Final Word in the sideboard for this one. I guess maybe for the mirror matchup, instants and sorcery spells you control can't be countered. And the Sphinx of Forgotten Lore. So that'd be interesting if that ends up being a deck. That's a 51% win rate. Here's a 55% win rate version of it. What's the difference? One less stock up. And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty similar. I guess they got Final Showdown in this version, and 3 copies of Jeskai Revelation. So just tinkering on the edges of the deck list actually can get you quite a bit of a percentage. Might also be that the player who has played that version is just a better player. Control tends to reward the stronger players that are better at reading what opponent has in hand and what opponent's game plan is. Moving over to Pio. Start off in best of 1 here. Rakdos and Mono Red with the highest win rate, although Boros, Azorius, Selesnya not far behind. Mono Black being the most popular and not even ranking on the win rates. Rakdos being number 2. We see Mono Black just having a real popularity surge for some reason in Pioneer on Arena. And pretty low data on best of 3, but we've got a Mono Red and Izzet being the most popular. And if we skip over to Goldfish, Mono Red Aggro, far and away the leader with Rakdos mid-range number 2, Mono Black mid-range number 3. Let's take a look at Mono Black mid-range. Here's a third place list, 6 and 2. Got 1 Cecil, 2 Blade of the Oni, Gifted Etherborn, Graveyard Trespasser, just like Shieldred of the Apocalypse, just kind of your normal good black good stuff. Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, Go for the Throat. Arch Enemy's Charm has made the cut here. Invoke Despair and Unholy Annex, Ritual Chamber, Castle Lockthwain, Mutavault, Swamp, Takanuma, Urborg. It's interesting. A lot of these are in Standard, right? Unholy Annex is already over there in Standard. Arch Enemy's Charm and Cecil. So not too bad if you want to try to do a Standard version. And then Modern, Boros Energy, still on top, but I think everybody was saying, you know, Boros Energy had a good representation of the metagame at the Pro Tour, but it wasn't like, you know, but the metagame was very diverse. It wasn't just all Boros Energy cards. And we see Belcher here at number 2. I'm not sure if that's come up since the results of the tournament, since the Belcher players seem to have done pretty well. I'll jump back to take a look at the results. We had a Belcher player at first and tied for 4th. And second place did go to Azorius Control. So looks like Subtlety, Solitude, Narset, Teferi. Yeah, well, you know, as I say, the control players, it's to the advantage of the better players. Supreme Verdict, Lorien Revealed. 1 Isochron Scepter, so you can, I guess, do Orum's Chant over and over, or maybe just a Prismatic Ending. Does that work with Prismatic Ending? You could do Spell Snare over and over, or Stern Scolding over and over. I guess maybe it's mostly just to get a counterspell on it. Fun of. And Consigned to Memory, I believe this was the most played card. It's almost all in people's sideboards. But people were ready to hit the Eldrazi decks and the other decks that incidentally get hit by this. So, I mean, people say Modern Horizons not as dominant as they expected, yet we do see, you know, this got reprinted in Modern Horizons. Subtlety, Solitude, Prismatic Ending, those are all Modern Horizons 2. Force of Negations is Modern Horizons 1. So, we do see Consult the Star Charts if you're looking for a newish card that got some results. There you go. Is it Prowess, Amulet Titan, Simic Neoform, and Goryo's rounding out the top 8 there. So, I guess, yeah, there's Eldrazi Tron. Goryo's Vengeance, is that something else that Consigned to Memory also you would sideboard in? Don't follow Modern as much as I wish I did. Let's jump over to Alchemy. Izzet. Great win rates for both Izzet and Simic in Alchemy. In Historic, which probably will see an uptick. I just saw Saffron Olive put out a mono-white Devotion deck for Historic. That's pretty cool, and probably see people rushing over to play that at some point. Naya Life Gain really just skyrocketing up in popularity. And it is doing okay in win rate. It's a pretty compressed win rate there at the top. I mean, any win rate above 60% is phenomenal. You got 7 decks to choose from here in the current meta. So Pretty good format to be playing if you want to rank up at least. Timeless, Boros Energy is the #1 in win rate, followed by Mardu Energy. And 4-color Omnitel, Jud Midrange is at Affinity. Again, pretty thin on data. I was hoping with the release of the Arena anthologies, which also came out this week, you would see more Timeless play. But just not really seeing it. Skipping back over here, what other formats have we not looked at? Pauper, Blue Terror on top, followed by Jund Wildfire, Madness Burn, and Burn. Legacy, Dimir Reanimator, Red Stompy, Dimir Tempo, Mystic Forge combo, Cephalid Breakfast. In Vintage, we got Luris Control, Mono White Initiative, really battling between 1 and 2, and then Jewel Shops quite far behind, kind of in the same group with Dredge and Oath of Druids. Penny Dreadful, Sultai Tendrils, Dual Commander, Aragorn, King of Gondor, and Cosmic Spider-Man, quite popular. Of course, I've got the Arena version of this guy, if you want to check it out, for Brawl. And they put Vivi, actually, as their top in Brawl. I'm not sure... Are there any tournaments, or is this just deck lists people are posting? This just seems to be recent decks. They need to get the Brawl Hub Discord has regular Brawl tournaments. So if you really want to see what wins in a competitive Brawl environment, you got to go there and check it out. So let's see what they're showing for Brawl on Arena. Vivi is the most popular, followed by Ruffalos, Ugin, Eye of Storms, Ren 6, Itali. There's CGB looked like he put out a video with an Emrakul or something for a Brawl video, so I'm betting that all the CGB heads are going to be playing that one, and that will be #1 most popular next week. In terms of win rate, Ruffalos, absolutely busted commander, is 62.5%. Tifa, very close behind at 62.4%. Ren and 6 at 60%. And then we get one of the old standbys, Rusco, down at #4. But interestingly, Elspeth Stormslayer. I guess people like to duplicate tokens and also win. Vivi at #6 in win rate. And it looks like Ruffalos, at least people seem to be ready to beat Ruffalos. The win rate is falling off over time. Itali is rising in the current meta, and Rusco is rising in the current meta. So those are some classics at this point. Those you can find really tuned list on the Brawlhead Discord. And let's flip it back to standard best of 1. And maybe we'll click through a couple deck lists, but I'll check and see if we got any comments here. What are y'all playing? What do you like from the new set? I'm not really seeing a huge impact of Spider-Man on any of these formats, but am I missing something? You guys let me know if there's a card that's really been a breakout. I don't think there is. I mean, Fleam has been a breakout as a meme, but as you saw on this channel, I've put Fleam to the test, and while it's pretty decent in Brawl, it's nothing to write home about in Standard. So I will say I've got a video out today that does a Reanimator Sacrifice combo thing. This is the Sultai version of it, using Covert the Mind Bit, and I'm seeing this all over the queues now. I don't know if the rest of you are, or if it's just my luck, but what you do is basically put Bringer of the Last Gift in a graveyard, and because it has a, if you cast it, each player sacrifices all other creatures, then each player returns all creature cards from the graveyard that weren't put there this way to the battlefield. And because Covero actually is cast, when you're cloning the Bringer, you get that trigger, so it becomes a almost one-sided board wipe. And then I built the version where we didn't even use green. This version wants to bring back Vein Ripper, and then Harvester of Misery, giving everything -2/-2, and because you have a bunch of small creatures like Steam Core Scholar and Town Greeter that will die to the Harvester, then you get a bunch of triggers of Vein Ripper and you kind of just win automatically. To me, in my testing, that ended up being win more, and I found it you could just play with blue and black, basically all you need to play with Covert, and bring back a bunch of, you know, stuff like this, but also Valgavoth and other kind of standard reanimator targets. And then you could also run some Zombifies and have that as a backup win con. And then you pretty much just win once you play Covert with the Bringer of the Last Gift. Most people scoop. But if you have to, then you can swing and attack. And there's a thing that gives all demons haste, which the name of which escapes me. But because most of the cards we have that get reanimated were demons, that's another way to just win the turn that you play the combo. So that's a deck. Orzhov, I've been seeing some of this. This is an interesting version though. Armored Armadillo and Lord Skitter's Blessing. And Spiteful Hexmage. So this is more like a enchantments version of Orzhov, which I wasn't expecting to click on, but that's cool. Authority of the Consuls seems to be, if you're in white, you need to play at least one of it. It's so good in best of one. Just letting you know that. And fairly cheap, I think, probably, because it's been reprinted in Foundations. What else? Let's see. Let's see if we can find what's the best Jeskai Artifacts build at the moment. If you just want to play best of one standard, the very best build, see what's winning Platinum to Mythic. Guess is it this one? One Enigma Jewel, some Clay-Fired Bricks, some Spring-Loaded, some Cryogen, Perilous Snare. I mean, it's a pretty tight list. There's a lot of 4-ofs. This one also uses the Fire Crystal, which I tried out in our build. That's what gives it the name Jeskai Artifacts. I've also seen people running the White Auracite as something to repurposing Bay, one of your 3-drops into. So that's an option. And this is just the version without Enigma Jewel actually performs. It seems to win faster, but not quite as often. You'd have to balance that out. View meta info for all archetypes. Well, that's just kind of what we were looking at. And what do we got here? A Mono Black Skeletons list. Oh, here's a Jeskai Artifacts list that's got 81.8% win rate. Let's see what Detox Madness is running here. And they're up in Mythic. So they've got Authority of the Consuls, 3 Clay-Fired Bricks, Spring-Loaded Sawblade, Cryogen Relics. They've got No More Lies. This is interesting. So a little bit of interaction, and then pretty much just only 3 United Battlefronts. But again, pretty streamlined list. That seems to be performing pretty well. Let's see. Do we have the matchups? So splits with Azorius. Doing really good against Mono White there, 5-0. Looks like it does well against Selesnya decks. A lot of 1-ofs, so we don't really know exactly what that is, but there you go. This is what somebody's playing to rank. Looks like they were kind of, well, they were coming up in Diamond, but then they switched over and really took it further. So I wish I had more exciting news to tell you about Spider-Man and through the Omenpaths, but I do not. But maybe next week we'll see a card emerge. We'll see somebody really break the Covert decks and really kind of streamline version of that is Tier 1 competitive. I could see that happening. But until then, I've been Manadad reminding you Magic is a game so fun